Good morning, guys. I just had a question about leverage in the Burb Nest, and I wanted to share a very quick and simple lesson on the basics of leverage trading and how you should actually properly utilize leverage as a risk management tool or to reduce risk rather than to increase risk. So this is something that I see a lot of and I get a lot of questions about. And it seems like a lot of people have a fundamental misunderstanding of what leverage is and how to use it as an appropriate trading tool. Excuse me one sec. So, leverage is there to reduce your risk. It's not there to increase it. So I've just got a quick example on the chart here, and I'll go through two scenarios. The first scenario, we'll go with the high risk scenario first. So let's say, for argument's sake, you have $1,000 account. That's your entire all the money you have in your account. That's $1,000. And you decide to enter a position with 10 times leverage, and you go all in on the position. You use your entire $1,000 account and you use 10 times leverage, and you decide to put a 1% stop loss. What this means is that if your stop is to get hit and you're 10 times leveraged with your entire account, then you have a 10% risk to your account, which means that if your stop loss gets hit, you lose $100 out of your 1,000. So you're left with $900. That's a 10% loss in one trade if that went wrong. Nobody wants to lose 10% in one trade. Not at all. That's extraordinarily high risk and definitely not a good idea. So, and that's the common misconception. A lot of people will do that. They'll utilize all of their money and they'll leverage it 5 times, 10 times, 100 times. You know, they'll do silly things like that, and they end up blowing their accounts very, very early on in their career, and the career ends up being over because of a fundamental misunderstanding of leverage. So let's look at the right scenario, which is this top one here. You can see, so let's say you have the same size account, you have $1,000. Your positions, you decide to enter your position size as $100. So you're only putting $100 down on the trade. You have the same 1% stop loss, which is still 10% risk on 10 times leverage. Obviously, we're applying the same leverage here. So you're in with $100. You've leveraged it 10 times, and you've got a 1% stop loss, which is still a 10% loss, but only to the position size, not to your whole account. So the difference here is that because you've leveraged $100 10 times, your position size is effectively $1,000. So you're still playing with $1,000. You'll receive the gains that you would if you were using a $1,000 position with no leverage. However, your stop loss is 1%, and you'll lose 10% of your $100. This means your maximum risk is $10. You can lose $10 on this position, which is 1% of your entire account, your $1,000. So this is how to properly utilize leverage. It's there to reduce your risk. It means that you can use less money to leverage your entire account. You shouldn't really use leverage whatsoever to increase your account size as a position. That's how people blow their accounts. So, you know, that's the ideal scenario. $100, 10 times leveraged. You know, like if you wanted to use 10% of your account and leverage it 10 times with a 1% stop, by all means, because your risk there is 1%.